Okay, looks like we are currently live. So, happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm super excited about today's video. I've had a lot of questions over the past year regarding tennis elbow. So I think this is going to be super helpful for a lot of people here in the group today. Also, with today's video, I've got a few notes on my computer here, just going over the key topics with tennis elbow. If you're somebody who likes taking notes and or likes to write things down as you're going, I can save you some time today. So if you want my notes for today going over tennis elbow, feel free to comment notes down below in the comment section and I can send them your way after this video. So like I said, today is episode 3 of the Pickleball Performance and Rehab Group. In this video, we're going to be going over 3 reasons why tennis elbow occurs, and then what you guys need to be doing in order to overcome this injury if you're currently dealing with it, or just the steps you need to be doing to prevent it from ever occurring. Make sure you pay close attention today because this injury, especially if you've ever experienced it, you know it can be very frustrating. So pay close attention. It's going to be saving you a lot of time and a lot of frustrations if you implement the things I share with you today. If you're somebody who is currently dealing with tennis elbow and are struggling to find relief, this is something that I personally help dozens of people overcome within my tennis elbow pickleball program. This program was designed to support people dealing with tennis elbow who are trying to get into pickleball or trying to compete at their best pain free. So if you're interested in potentially hearing more about that, or dealing with an injury, feel free to reach out to me or comment elbow down below. We've had several new people join the group this week, so I wanted to introduce those people if they're watching this video live here today. As always, if you guys can comment or have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section down below. We're going to continue doing these live streams every single Wednesday, giving you guys the tips and tricks that are needed when it comes to pickleball injuries and the things you need to be doing to stay pain free. So I would appreciate it if you guys have any questions or anything, be sure to drop them down below. And if you receive any value from today's video, please like it and share it with a friend. So let's dive in here. We're talking, like I said, tennis elbow, often called pickleball elbow in today's world because it's almost more common now when it comes to pickleball than tennis because this injury is so prominent. So let's break down first what tennis elbow is, and then we'll kind of share why this injury occurs, and finally what you need to be doing in order to prevent it from ever occurring. So, tennis elbow is essentially inflammation of your wrist extensor muscles. So, if you guys can see my forearm here, there's a bunch of different muscles running along here, inserting on this bump on the outside part of your elbow. So these muscles all actively extend your wrist like this. So what happens is with the repetitive overhead motion, the swinging of the paddle, what happens is if we do that enough and with enough force, we end up stretching out these muscles and causing irritation. Most commonly, the pain is going to occur at that bony prominence there towards the outer part of your elbow, and that is where most people complain of this injury occurring. But like I said, the problem is it's all of these muscles that are running along here on your forearm. So that's kind of what the injury is. And like I said, it's common with tennis. It's common with overhead sports, just from the repetitive motion and stretching of these muscles. So what also can happen too is if this injury progresses long enough, you can actually get small micro tears of those muscles, leading to extended time off the court and just more of a difficult process when it comes to recovering from this injury. So these muscles are small, they're delicate, so it doesn't take much to stress them out and cause an injury. So that's why it's not super surprising that this injury is so common. So that's a little bit about what tennis elbow is. So let's go into the 3 reasons why this injury occurs. So first and foremost, the number one reason why I find this injury occurs is people are playing too much, and at too quick of a pace. So, oftentimes when it comes to pickleball, it's really easy to get hooked. It's really easy to play for several hours, several games in a row, especially early on. So, the key with this is you want to try and avoid playing too much too soon. So I compare it to going for a hike. So if you're somebody who isn't very active and then you go on vacation and you're hiking up these mountains, you're doing, 20 to 30,000 steps a day, what can happen is you end up with foot injuries, knee injuries, hip pain, back pain. And it's kind of the same concept. What you're doing is you're stressing your body by placing too much stress too soon. So want to be doing is you want to be actively building up to allow enough time for your body to make the adaptations needed for these injuries to be prevented. So when it comes to pickleball, you don't want to just jump right in and play for several games, several hours the first time you're out. You want to slowly build your way up by playing just a few games and then building yourself up over time so that way your body adjusts and you're less likely to deal with an injury like this. So that's the first reason why. Second reason why is due to poor mobility. So mobility is important in all of our joints, but when it comes to elbow injuries like tennis elbow, it's extremely important in the elbow joint itself and also the shoulder joint. So, if you're somebody who suffers from tightness in the shoulder, tightness in the elbow, you don't have a lot of good mobility, what can happen is you'll end up placing a lot more stress on these wrist extensor muscles while you're playing pickleball. So, it's going to be important that you are doing things when it comes to exercises and programming to work on your mobility if that's a concern for you. If you're not real sure if you have good mobility and you might be at higher risk of developing an injury like this, feel free to comment down below me and I will personally reach out to you and kind of go through a couple different tests and determine if you have poor mobility in the elbow, shoulder, or somewhere else. So that's the second reason why lack of mobility in the joint, because if you don't have good mobility, something's going to be taking on that extra stress when you're playing pickleball. Third reason why this injury occurs is due to poor strength. So this is going to be not only in these muscles here, but also, again, up in the elbow, up in the shoulder, and then also in the lower extremities. So when it comes to pickleball, we want to make sure we have good strength all the way from our toes, all the way up to our head. Because pickleball is such a full body sport, everything is involved. So, for example, if you're dealing with a knee issue or a hip issue on one side, what can happen is the shoulder has to take on additional stress, the elbow takes on additional stress, and then you're stuck with tennis elbow. Because oftentimes, what I see when it comes to this injury, people only focus on their extensor muscles here, which is important, but it doesn't matter how strong these muscles are. If you have poor strength in the shoulder, in through the hips, all the way down through the knees, it doesn't matter if these muscles are the strongest muscle in your body. It's likely you're going to be suffering from an injury with the amount of stress that are placed on these muscles during pickleball. So it's going to be important that you're incorporating full body exercises and truly finding out what types of exercises you need to be doing when it comes to pickleball and performance. Just got a comment from Tammy. She just said, "Thank you for all the great information." Yes, Tammy, thank you for joining in. If you have any specific questions, you can drop them now and I will definitely circle back to them at the end. So that's the number 3 reason is poor strength. And if you guys aren't sure of what types of exercises, things you need to be doing, you can comment exercise down below and I can send you a couple ideas and talk with you further and see if there's a good fit for you as far as which things you need to be doing. So those are the 3 reasons why these injuries occur when it comes to pickleball and tennis elbow. Like I said, we want to make sure we are progressing ourselves accordingly into the sport. We want to make sure we have good mobility at the elbow and the shoulder. And finally, we want to make sure we have good strength from our head all the way up to our toes. So it's going to be important that we are addressing each of those when it comes to pickleball and playing pain free. So those are the reasons why this occurs. So let's break down some of the key tips and tricks that I would recommend when it comes to pickleball and trying to stay pain free. These are some of the things that I implement within my tennis elbow pickleball program. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about that, if you're somebody dealing with tennis elbow pain, be sure to reach out to me and I can share some of those details and see if we can potentially help you. So, like I said, we want to be focusing on a number of things when it comes to tennis elbow and staying pain free. So, first thing I would recommend doing if you are dealing with this injury is first modifying activities. So this kind of relates to progressing yourself into pickleball. So if you're somebody that is playing 5-6 hours a day, what you likely need to do is modify the amount of time you're playing and give your body enough time to heal with this injury. It's like I always compare it to a sprinter or a football player dealing with a hamstring injury. If they keep running, if they keep playing at their maximum potential and they just keep going, it's likely the injury is just going to get worse and worse and worse. Same thing with this. There has to be a line that we draw where we're not doing too much and we're doing the things that we need to be doing to work on our strength and work on our mobility, which we'll get into here. But like I stated, you don't necessarily need to stop playing entirely, but it's important that you are taking the time to allow your body to heal and ensuring that you are not stressing out this area too much, leading to even worse of an injury. This is something we can definitely go over within my programming as well. If you guys aren't sure how to balance out how much pickleball you should be playing with this injury, we can definitely cover that within our program. Next thing I would discuss or we'll go over here when it comes to dealing with tennis elbow pain and in terms of if you're experiencing it is different exercises for strength. So I just got another comment from Tammy, so she just asked the good exercises for tennis elbow. So this is exactly what we're going into here. So as far as exercises and everything, two key areas I like to focus on is one at the wrist extensors, so building a little bit of strength through there, and then also at the shoulders. So as far as wrist extensors, I'm a big fan of doing grip squeezes as long as it doesn't cause too much pain, because that's going to help activate these muscles, start to build strength, start to get the blood flowing a little bit better to that area, and that's going to ultimately help these muscles heal. So doing things like that that are pain free, or at a 1 to 2 to a 3 out of pain, are great. Second thing I like to do when it comes to pickleball injuries and tennis elbow, I like to incorporate things with the shoulder. So I'm a big fan of bow and arrows, and if you guys follow me on social media, you've probably seen this exercise before. It's essentially taking a band, stretching it out, getting your full trunk to rotate side to side. This is a great exercise to work the elbow, work the shoulder, and then also work the thoracic spine. So this is kind of one of those full body exercises that are important when it comes to pickleball. And that is a tremendous exercise when we're dealing with this injury, because a lot of times I find with these injuries is tennis elbow, it's coming from the shoulder, or it's coming from the back, or it's coming from the hips. So working the bow and arrows is a great way to do it. And if you're not familiar with this exercise, I'll be sure to leave it in the comment section down below here of the video. So those are the two big ones I like to incorporate when it comes to tennis elbow and injuries. So number one, again, make sure you're modifying the activities. If you keep playing, it's possible the injury could get worse. So definitely reach out to somebody, reach out to a medical professional and see what you're dealing with, see what you need to be doing to, overcome this injury ultimately. Second thing is incorporating strength exercises, so of those muscles themselves, but then also the elbow, the shoulder, and the rest of the body as well. So those are the big key takeaways I had for this video today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. If not, we will see you guys next week on our live stream. I'm not sure of the topic yet, but I will be sharing it by the end of this week, and you guys will have time to get your questions ready, and we'll be sure to answer them next week. So thank you for joining today.